Why did we stop putting sodas and sauces in glass bottles? Glass containers are more expensive than plastic. Glass is very heavy compared to plastic. It requires more fuel and emissions to move the trucks because it's heavy goods. Significantly more. Lighter packaging means you can fit more product on a truck. Fewer truck movements. Plastic is fewer emissions, despite being made from fossil fuels. Glass is energy intensive to manufacture, lots of heat to melt and water to wash it. A glass bottle is required to recycled about 40 or so times before the amount of energy to make it in the first place is less than a plastic bottle. In USA maybe 10% of plastic bottles are recycled, but only about 30% of glass bottles are too. If you are doing realistic life cycle analysis of cost to total environment, plastic works out to be far in front. Flexible packaging results in fewer breakages. You drop a box of glass bottles and they all shatter, the contents leak all over the floor. Drop a box of plastic and they bounce, maybe some get dents or deformed. It's a pain to clean up. This is a serious problem in supermarket aisles where a single slip injury of a person can wipe out a day's profit. Also why zero glass rules at music festivals or outdoor play areas. I'm old enough to remember when shampoo was in glass bottles. Lots of cut feet and visits to the emergency room. Plastic floats in water and glass sinks. This is your invisible environmental pollution problem, but it also has some benefits to manufacture and recycling. There is glass in waterways too, but it's at the bottom. You don't see it. They still do this in some places, though it is pretty rare nowadays. Weirdly enough, I've always found that the versions that come in glass always taste better. Breakage, packaging weight and shipping cost. Those are the big two. Squeeze bottles. Ketchup in glass is dang hard to get out. You don't have to worry about breaking the bottle and glass shattering. I was glad when shampoo bottles switched to plastic. Same for soda, at least with plastic it didn't shatter into hundreds of broken shards. Aluminum is cheaper than glass bottles. Plastic bottles are cheaper than aluminum. I worked in the plastics industry for about 2 decades. Mostly beverage and medical, and I can tell you the biggest thing was the bribs and lies about recycling and reuse. The other thing is shipping. If we are shipping bottles to the filling plant, it's much cheaper to ship plastic. It just uses less fuel. Now we get plastic from natural gas, and natural gas in the US is basically free now. I used to work for a food manufacturer that made products in both glass and plastic containers, also cans and pouches. The glass line was a nightmare to run because one breakage and you're stopping the line for an extended period to clean it up to keep the products uncontaminated. Plastics are a lot less risky to fill. I've heard factory workers say they would be hesitant to feed a baby food out of a glass jar for that reason. The safest choice would likely be the metal can, provided that the lining material is BPA-free. Glass is heavy, can break and costs a bit more. So the firms advertised their new, light bottles as oh so innovative and cheaper. Since it worked, obviously, well, they continued, and will, unless they start making less profit with the plastic containers. Plastic is cheaper, which is why everyone went to plastic. It all comes down to money. Glass containers cost manufacturers more money to produce. They also cost more to ship since they weigh more. And they're more prone to breaking en route, which ends up costing the manufacturers money. Large corporations don't care about plastic waste. They would set the world on fire next year if they believed that it would make them more money this year. Big Oil convinced companies to use plastic oil processing byproducts because they were cheaper than glass, and it added another revenue stream to Big Oil's profits. But you know they wouldn't have gotten away with it if they didn't also have the government regulatory agencies in their back pockets to sign off that it was safe to store food in plastic containers. Bandit wad of American dollars. There are a few reasons why glass bottles fell out of favor for sodas and sauces. Firstly, glass is heavier and more fragile than plastic. making it more expensive to produce and transport. Additionally, glass bottles require more energy to recycle compared to plastic. Also, plastic offers better insulation and durability, making it more suitable for mass production and distribution. Finally, plastic is generally cheaper to manufacture, which is a significant factor for businesses looking to maximize profits. While glass bottles have their advantages, these factors have led to their decline in certain industries. The selling point in the 80s was that glass vessels broke often. I remember GIF, Skippy. Some peanut butter brand literally had commercials of a kid getting a jar of peanut butter out of a pantry or cabinet and it falling, and instead of shattering the plastic bounced. And now the kid would not have to spend an hour trying to sweep up peanut butter coated shards of glass. Wait. Plastic is cheaper, lighter and sturdier, roughly handled, than glass. Money. Many public areas such as pools, beaches, or parks have prohibited the use of glass bottles as they can pose a safety hazard. Glass bottles often sink and are not easily retrievable, leading to the possibility of someone getting injured. Dropping a plastic bottle may cause a dent, but if it's a glass bottle, it can shatter and cause serious injuries, such as ending up in someone's eye.